and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo, and we're here today to talk about something a little bit different. We're here to talk about my history with paintball and airsoft. I feel like, I don't know, airsoft, paintball, you know, they're just kind of connected to YouTubers like myself who play a lot of shooters and military-style stuff, because, I don't know, they're both really fun hobbies. And I would like to try and do, can you tell this isn't a normal discussion? Took me like a year and a half to remove those words from my vocabulary when it came to speaking, and they're coming back. Anyways, I would like to get some airsoft stuff going on the channel this summer, hopefully. I think that'd be cool. But I want to preface that by having a discussion, because I grew up with paintball, actually. I grew up big time with paintball. Actually, I grew up with real firearms. So for the longest time, it was very difficult to get my pops. You know, he's the one who raised me. I mean, he had me shooting when I was 4 years old. You know, guns were a very integral part of my childhood. You know, I learned how to respect them and how to clean them the proper way for gun safety. Teach people about things, and who knew? They might be safe about it. It's like teaching your kid how the oven works at a young age. Once they understand flame hot, how to turn the thing on, how to turn it off, they gain respect for it, and then they can appreciate it and they can be safe with it. It's how I learned to cook, again, at a very young age. My parents raised me that way, and it's the same way I'll raise my kids. But so it was hard for my dad, actually, to get around the idea of shooting at each other with things, you know, in any sense. So it was a very hard, long fight for my mom, actually, with my dad, to get him to be okay with us owning paintball markers. You know, she had to sort of push your kids are responsible, you know, they're respectable, you raise them right, you know, this isn't going to change their outlook on real firearms. And it most definitely did it. So we finally got our hands on paintball. And our first markers were Tippmann 98 Customs, and then we actually went on to play a lot of, we ended up playing lots of woodsball. Woodsball was our casual thing with our friends. It's actually a big piece of woods land behind my school that I went to, my middle school and my high school, where we not only had BMX trails, mountain bike trails that we built, we also played paintball. No one ever bothered us. They didn't care. I mean, it was a nice little piece of land that we had that was close to home for us, and it was awesome. We grew up there spending a lot of time. But then there was a local skate park that attached a paintball field to it, and they actually had speedball, and then that is where things sort of started. We started playing lots of weekend tournaments there. We started going to tournaments at another local field, and we were winning. And my parents, unlike most parents who go out and spend tons of money so their kid can play travel hockey and baseball, I mean, I did all those things, but my real childhood was with motorcycles, firearms, and then paintball. They spent a lot of money, so my brother and I could play paintball pretty competitively. And while we never really upgraded our markers, I mean, and when I say upgrade, we never purchased new markers. My brother and I ran 98 Customs till this day. I still have mine. I'll have to pull it out sometime. It's completely rehauled. I mean, at the age of 14, I knew how to tear down an entire paintball gun, and a lot of other people around me knew how to too. It's just something you did when you played paintball. You learned how to fix your own stuff, because taking it to a shop wasn't reasonable, and it was time consuming, especially when you could fix it on the fly as long as you had the tools and the materials on hand. So we learned how to tear those things down, and my 98 Custom is worth some serious cash in terms of how much money I put into it. I don't know if anybody would actually care, because things have changed. The 98 Custom is made out of plastic now. It's rubbish. It's not even the same one-piece or split design, two-piece split design that it is. It's all, I hate the new one. But it has a lot of awesome parts, and I took it very seriously, and I genuinely enjoyed it. It was a serious hobby for me. But the biggest issue with paintball was the cost of the paintballs. CO2 refills, not too bad. There was actually a local bait and tackle scuba shop that filled CO2 tanks, so you got them 90 cents or something for a 20-ounce CO2, which is what I always ran on my my 98 Custom. And it just, you know, that wasn't bad, but it was the paintballs. It was the paintballs. You know, pretty much all the other equipment you purchase. You could spend a lot of money on a mask. I think I used my paper out money after like 2 months. I got myself one of the dye masks with the anti-fog and the fan in it. But paintballs, good paint, so pricey. So pricey. And if you play, you know it still is. It's not cheap. You could buy the cheap stuff. The balls probably wouldn't break. The paint was like water. The good stuff was kind of expensive, and that was really where the detriment to my parents' wallet was. But they supported us for it. We kept playing, and then our field shut down. And I think this is the biggest discussion when a lot of people like to have the versus debate. We're not having the versus debate. We're having the paintball and airsoft discussion here. Is that some people, it's just more reasonable to play one or the other. You might have a lot more local fields, might be more affordable in your area. You know, there's just a ton of things going for it. And for us, paintball died out. That field was shut down very sadly. We actually as young people, we were very good friends with the owners of the skate park and the field because we played there all the time. We developed a trust with them and, you know, a relationship with them. And one of the main owners, Margaret, who I'll never forget, one of the nicest women I've ever met. She hated us at first because she didn't know who we were. And I remember she was convinced that we were stealing the O-rings off the CO2 tanks. Reality was, when I first started playing there, I had no idea how to properly remove a CO2 tank when it was, you know, somewhat full. So I would burst the O-rings, and she would get very frustrated about it. You could tell that, you know, she was a grumpy lady at first, but it was because their business was not making the money it should have been making. They actually had a building, a pro shop that was supposed to be built for the skate park and the paintball. This could have been a hugely profitable thing. Not only that, it could have been a place where kids could have went. We don't have places like that where I live, and that pisses me off. It really genuinely does. All this money is dumped into sports. Sports. Well, you know what? Sports, for the most part, it's not a casual hobby. You have to spend a lot of money to play hockey. You have to spend a lot of money to play all these things, and you can only play them at certain times of the year. You know, we had what was possibly going to become an indoor and outdoor skate park, an indoor and outdoor paintball field. It would have ran full all year round. This would have been a great place for kids. It was in a great location in New York State where a lot of people could go right off the thruway. It was right there. And New York State instead decided, let's find every possible fine, taxation, insurance thing to just stack on these little people. I mean, this was a company that went around the country building paintball fields and skate parks, and they couldn't even afford to maintain a business here in New York State. It was disgusting. Eventually, the paintball field was shut down. We played airball there. They had inflatables there. It was awesome. It was a wonderful field, wonderful people, and a wonderful community that was there, and it was gone, just like that. The skate park stayed, but, you know, it wasn't really maintained. We would go there and almost ride for free some days because we would help clean up the park. We'd help pick up old screws and just sweep and keep it clean. And, you know, the owner was nice about it, but pretty much he said, you know, it's going. It's going to be it. It's gone. And it did. Eventually died. It's a wasted parking lot now. Wasted. Completely empty. Congratulations, New York State. You. Really pisses me off to this day because that was a place that I would still go. I mean, I love riding still to this day, and my bike is great exercise. I can't do it in the same way I used to without the skate park, but the paintball field's gone too. Anyways, that sort of led to the transfer of my group, my friends, my brother, to play Airsoft. Started off not knowing anything about Airsoft, cheap, disgusting crossman, and then here we are today with one of my Airsoft rifles, my primary anyways. This is my Airsoft GI custom G&G. It's got a Noveski rail on it. I believe this is a 13-inch Mad Bull suppressor that I actually bought originally for my M24, which is back there, my Echo M1 M24, which, great rifle, great price, high FPS, terrible sear set. The trigger is crap on that thing. It's broken, and I never got around to replacing it because there was just nothing that was going to work without some machining and some messing around, and I didn't know enough about that a couple of years ago. Now I'm starting to get into a little bit more, but this is my baby, and it's cheap. G&G makes great stuff at an affordable price. Airsoft in general is extremely affordable. And I'd like to point out that paintball really is this day and age as well. It's extremely affordable. It's just the paint. It's the ammunition difference. This thing never stays in. It's the ammunition difference that really gets you. That's where the issue stands. Because paintballs are really expensive, whereas pellets, I mean, these Elite Force, I think they ran, I don't know, $10 or something for 5,000. They're really cheap, and these are .25s. They're a little bit heavier. I like the heavier stuff. I mean, yeah, you lose a little bit of range, but accuracy, range, I'll go with the accuracy. So it's a little bit more affordable. That's one argument you could have with it. But at the end of the day, for me, it boils down to a combination of the affordability of all this stuff now and what people are playing. And more people are playing Airsoft in my area. There's 2 fields in my area, one indoor, one outdoor. Not really interested in the indoor field, never have been. The outdoor field is ran also by a local company called The War Store, which I'll have a link to the website, actually, because why not? Give these guys some business. They're a nice small company. And they also do not just Airsoft, they do 40K stuff, man. They have 40K. Like, Airsoft and 40K go together in the strangest freaking way. I mean, you look at some of the awesome people over at GI, like Bob. Who doesn't love Bob Hildebrand? Bob's the man. And, you know, 40K guy. 40K guy, huge Airsoft nerd, actor, you know? I think Airsoft is one of those things that also stands out as like it's an alternative hobby for a lot of people. You know, a lot of people may look at somebody like me and say, dude, that guy's just the biggest friggin' gamer ever. I mean, he's got just game stuff everywhere, and I totally am, but it doesn't mean there aren't other ways that I like to have a good time, and Airsoft is definitely one of those. 40K, man, I played a lot of 40K back in the day, good stuff, but, you know, they're both really affordable. For me, it's about the area, And I do like the cheapness of BBs, not having to run to the store and fill up a tank. You know, I got my my battery right in my crane stock there, pops off, boom, nice twin stick battery. So it's a little bit more accessible in that manner. And of course, the biggest thing for airsoft for a lot of people is the realism aspect. I mean, you have some rifles that are full on. I mean, this has a fake, you know, a fake thing to clear jams. Doesn't actually work or anything like that. Again, you know, fake ejection port, fake bolt. You know, everything's fake. The paddle doesn't actually work. Doesn't release the bolt catch like it would. But there are rifles that go that far. You know, it definitely you can purchase what you want. The thing I like about the G&G was affordability. You know, it was a good standing stock rifle. It has actually really good mesh with the gears. Airsoft GI did a good job. You hear a lot of hit and miss about their stuff, I'll be honest. This rifle is actually really well done. The gears are nicely put together. There's been some time taken on it. And this also has this little thing right here, is electric blowback that G&G I think sort of coined. Some more people doing it, but basically unless you're running a gas gun like a KWA, one of their LM4s or something, you're not going to get that blowback action. This kind of simulates that. You don't feel the recoil, and there's people out there who are like, oh yeah man, I could totally feel the recoil, and it's just like, no, you really can't. I mean, you notice it, but it's not like an actual recoil simulator. It's a nice feature is what it is. And of course the hop up is also hidden right behind there. So overall, you know, it's pretty cheap to get an airsoft, and I think that was one of the things, but the realism at the end of the day was what I thought really was awesome about it. You know, you can buy this rifle that you can technically put real world stuff on. You can put a real world aim point, you know, red dot, whatever you want to put on. You want to put a EOTech, go ahead. You know, but it's the cool thing about it. You know, you've got chest rigs and Molly, you can custom Molly. It's just, there's an awesome little aspect to it. You're essentially role playing, and there'll be this endless argument about people, you know, being, oh, well, why don't you just become a soldier? And I think that's a ridiculous thing to say. It's a recreational activity like anything else, and it's great team building exercise. It's a hell of a lot of fun. I mean, simply put, it's fun. I know there's people out there who are anti-fun these days. So there needs to be something more to life. Well, there's more to that. There's a lot that is involved with making something fun. It's not a simple thing to craft good fun. You know, I don't just go out and go bowling on the weekends because it's fun. I actually find bowling very boring. Play Airsoft on the weekend because it's a hell of a lot of fun. So that's really the big change for me, and I would love to get some Airsoft on the channel. I really genuinely would, and I still have a lot to learn about Airsoft, not in ways people might think. For me, paintball, like I said, a big part of playing paintball was knowing my marker. Taking it apart in the middle of the field. I mean, I took this thing apart in the middle of winter out in the woods playing and replaced parts on this thing and fixed other people's markers. I knew just about how every marker worked because I have a fascination with taking things apart. When I was a kid, I used to take things apart and then not put them back together just because I wanted to see how they worked. Now I tend to put things back together, which is always good. And that's the one thing with Airsoft. I mean, I've messed around with some of the gearboxes inside of these things. I've done some like small things, fuse replacement. But with the AEGs, I just haven't gotten comfortable. And that's my plan this summer, is to tear this thing apart and learn a little bit more and do some internal replacements. This has an extended barrel in it that actually took out of that Echo 1 M24 because it was down rifle, whatever. So that's why I have the suppressor. It's actually more of a barrel extension at this point to cover the barrel. But I'd like to put a tight bore in here. You know, I just like to do lots of these small things. To me, that's a whole nother level of enjoyment that I actually receive out of Airsoft and out of the paintball, is taking these things apart. It's very methodical. Get all my nice little bolts out. I got my screws, my bowls, put the different screws in each bowl, tear the gun down, you know, lay it out nice and clean, put it back together, oil it up, and, you know, learn how it works so I can make my own upgrades and my own repairs. And I think I'm a big advocate for that kind of thing. Big advocate for safety as somebody who's into real steel firearms, who grew up with real firearms. You know, always about safety, and I preach that every day when I play Airsoft as well. I mean, I think people like to laugh, you know, and there's constant argument about the trigger, but I'm sorry. My favorite thing on the internet is when I see some kid complain about trigger discipline. Out of all the things people could be bitching and argue about on the internet, there are actually kids, young kids, 14 or 15-year-olds, who know and are concerned about trigger discipline. That warms my heart. Good on you guys. You know, I get some people want to be like, oh, let the kid go, but no, seriously. Trigger discipline, man. Don't point this thing at anybody. You treat it just like a real firearm. It's just, it's good practice. It's that simple. And I love seeing people with trigger discipline. I mean, it should be second nature if you play Airsoft. It really genuinely should. And I've had to teach a lot of people that growing up and getting people into paintball and Airsoft, you know, running barrel plugs on paintballs and just general safety. It's a big part of it. And, you know, the other part of it is your ability to repair your own equipment, because it's going to save you a lot of sorrow. I learned that riding BMX for the longest time, mountain bikes, you know, my car, motorcycles, paintball, airsoft. Seriously, you start getting into this kind of thing, consider learning about your own equipment. It's going to save you a lot of time at the end of the day. Not only, you know, can you now proudly say that you can fix and repair and upgrade your own equipment and that you've done so, but when the time comes, you're at the field, you end up having to break it. You don't know what it is. You go home that night. All right, well, there's two options. Either you know how to take your equipment apart, you know how to take your rifle apart, whatever it may be, and figure out what the issue is, order the parts and get it done, go to the store, purchase your parts, or you take it to the store, you pay the guy labor. If it's not the busy season, maybe you'll see your equipment in a week. If it is a busy season, maybe 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks of not playing. Turns out, all you had to do was replace a fuse. You never know. It's simple stuff like that more often than not. You know, learn how to troubleshoot your equipment. This has turned in more of me preaching about the things I think you should do when you play airsoft. But no, genuinely, airsoft is the way forward for me and my friends. It's just paintball is not an option anymore. If I can afford to play paintball in the future, if there's a field in the area that opens up nearby again, and I have the money down the road to where it's a you know, perfectly capable expense for me, hell yeah, I'll play paintball, man. I miss speedball, I really do. I miss covering my brother playing back, just endlessly pouring rounds downfield while he ran to the snake to, you know, pull off a nice flank. They both have their own gratification and satisfaction. Paintball for me was just it's a lot of nostalgia at this point. The sound, the smell of paint, the taste of paint. Apparently those things are edible. Doesn't mean they taste good. It's like escargot. Ugh. Actually, I've never had escargot. It's probably delicious. And airsoft the same way. Lots of great memories here. So I mean, that's my history with these two things. And you know, I would genuinely love to do some airsoft stuff in the future. We'll get my my Ghost over here, get this thing strapped up on my mask, and see if we can make some magic. It'll most likely be all outdoor stuff. That's the field. The War Store has an outdoor field that I want to get to. Awesome, you know, really large, old sort of junkyard themed apocalyptic field. Head down there with my brother and some friends, and you know, get a squad together and have a good time. Put some awesome footage together. We've all been playing together for a very long time. We have a great synergy as basically as a team when we played paintball. So I think that still exists inside Airsoft, and I'm looking forward to a summer of fun with this and with riding and doing some different things on the channel. So let me know what you guys feel about, how you feel about this kind of thing. You know, something you're looking forward to seeing, and also your personal involvement with Airsoft or paintball. You know, what is it about for you? Did you grow up with paintball? You grow up with airsoft? Which is more affordable? What's more reasonable in your area? That's the biggest thing. A lot of people would gladly do both if they could afford to do it and if it was available in their area. But, you know, one is either taking over the other. Don't get me wrong, paintball still is a thing, and PPL is still around. But that's just a really professional setting. You know, what about us who just want to, you know, some weekend warriors, so to speak. You know, just want to go out and have some fun on the weekends. So, what do you play? Share your kit. You know, what are you running? What rifle do you have? How long have you had it for? You make any personal modifications for it? Are you going out of your way to sort of learn a little bit more about your rifle? These are the things that interest me. Can you tell I'm a bit of a tech nerd when it comes to this stuff? So feel free to share all of that and more in the comment section below. Honestly, I don't want to stop talking. I'm in such a good mood right now. 20 minutes in this video, I just feel I could talk forever on this subject. It's something that I haven't got to talk about on the channel, and it really, it's a big thing for me. It's like, you know, it's a huge part of my my childhood, of my life, and really great memories made with this kind of stuff, you know, with paintball and video games. You know, it's all one big thing for me. So I'm looking to checking out some new stuff this year in terms of equipment. You know, I have my chest rig over there. It's pretty bare bones. I want to get some Molly and build my own custom rig from scratch that fits me. I'm a bigger guy. That chest rig's not bad, but it is kind of just uncomfortable in certain positions, and it's also not efficient for the playstyle I have. I may be a big guy, but I like to get down on the ground. I like to go prone. I like to move around a lot. I like to slide. I like to dive. I like to do whatever I need to do to get to cover, because as being a big guy, I need to get to cover as quickly as possible. I'm a pretty big target. So, and moving with my brother has always been the really, you know, quick, tactical consideration guy. Really quick running gun. Really just efficient person, and ridiculously quick on his feet. So, keeping up with him is a hell of a hassle. So those are some of the things I'd like to definitely try and do. I'm happy with this, you know. It's easy to just want to keep purchasing more and more, especially Airsoft GI has so many ridiculous deals. I mean, if you're looking to get an Airsoft, seriously check out their G&G combat machine line. My buddy got one, nice plain M4. You can put your own rail system on it. Like I said, that's the great thing about this is the modability, the upgrades. You can do it all. There's stuff made for all of these guns. Put your own foregrips, your own sights, whatever, fake lasers, fake suppressors, flash hiders, you know, whatever you want to do with it, you can make it happen. You can start bare and build your gun up. And to me, that's more fun than buying one that's pre-made. is doing that all yourself. Maybe paint it down the road, LiPo upgrades, barrel upgrades. You know, there's so much to do with it, but check out the G&G stuff. A lot of people will recommend other guns, I'm sure, down in the comment section below. You know, whatever you've had a good experience with. I think at the end of the day, when you can tell a good story about something you've owned for a long period of time. I've had good Echo 1 stuff. My MP5 is an Echo 1. I don't care much for the plastic on it. It feels kind of cheap, but otherwise it's been a really efficient, you know, submachine gun. It's a great little thing. I like it quite a bit. I should have brought it over here, but it's over on the gun rack right now, so. Yeah. Feel free to tell me anything and everything about this in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys in the next one.